Morning from the homestead. I'm going to be doing a little project today on the excavator. I'm up on top of it right now. So I got her running there the other day, brought it out, and I noticed as I was moving forward, it seemed a little low on power. I got to where the job was going to be done and, start working the controls, and I was just cleaning up a manure pile. And man, it's really, really bogging down heavy. And so I get to thinking, okay, I got to replace the fuel filter. Got one in the tool shed, so I go get it, go through the process of replacing the fuel filter, and go to start priming. And as I'm priming, I'm realizing that it just doesn't seem like it's actually priming right now. I can see some fuel moving up around the top of the fuel filter, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So that's when I realized. I look down and I've got a blown fuel line. So I'll show you that here. So this is the culprit right here. You can see the wet spot there. It goes from the water separator down to the priming pump. So I'm going to undo those hose clamps. I got a length of brown fuel line here, and we're going to replace that, prime this up, and get it going again. So yeah, the only thing you need for this, flathead screwdriver, or I believe it's a 5/16 nut driver. It might be a 1/4 inch, I'm not sure. And length of hose, kind of some optional supplies would be nitrile gloves are a good one to have. You don't really want to get fuel on your hands. And actually, I've got this tape on my left hand, so I'm going to be protecting that with the nitrile glove. And then paper towels, a bucket to catch any fuel that might drip. But I don't anticipate I'm going to lose very much on this. Bring it in here. Okay, so I got the hose off. You can see when I flex it like this, how cracked up it is. So there was fuel just kind of seeping out through this and air getting sucked back in, which was causing the bogging. So now I have my new line. I'm just gonna kind of roughly measure it out. It's gotta be close, right? So I'll cut it right here. Set the old hose over there. Grab my farm utility knife here for courtesy of Gerber. And I'm gonna cut my line. Set the hose down. So I lost the one nitrile glove. What I'm using is not a typical nitrile glove that you should be using for mechanical work, and so it blew out really right away. So the next thing you got to do that's important is to make sure you put your hose clamps on before you put the hose on. I'm going to put the downstream end first, down by the pump. Okay, so that's on. Put this hose clamp on. I'm going to clean it off before I put it on there. Make sure you have your screw oriented so that it's easy to get at. You want to be fighting with it. That's on, and then just going to grab a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and tighten them all up. So reach down into this one here, and yeah, it's a little awkward getting in on these things, so I'm going to use the stubby because of where I gotta place myself. Like I said, a nut driver, a small nut driver on this would be just as good, maybe a little better even. It's already tightening up. This is a really simple, quick, cheap fix. I call it cheap. Anybody who's down in the United States, well, here's what we pay for this hose, right? So it's I paid $2 a foot for this at the shop. I'm sure you guys pay a heck of a lot less for it down there in the US. But $2 a foot is acceptable to me. The filter for this thing, which I did replace, and you know what? I didn't have to do that. It was oh well, $37 for an Apple Gold filter up here, and I'm glad. It was looking like I was thinking, geez, the heck's going on here? Am I going to have to be replacing filters all the time on this old machine? Well, I don't. I just needed to fix this line. And so This supply line right here that comes to the tank, I actually had just replaced that maybe 5 hours ago, so I'm not concerned about that one. I've got this one here, which is the return line down to the tank, and it looks actually like it's fairly new, so I'm not going to bother with that. So now I've got it all put together. The next step is going to be to prime the fuel system. In order to do that, I need to find the socket that I'd set aside to make this quick. You can pause, Sam, while I find it. So this one is an 11/16. What I need to do, I need to crack this line right here on the top of the filter. Don't need to open it up all the way up. Just enough to let the air by. And then the priming plunger, this one down here, turn it to the left until you can pull it. And then you just run this thing up and down. You can see it just filled up the water separator. Now it's coming through this line here into the pump. It's going to come up this line here actually, into the filter, and the air, see there, as the air starts coming out of that. Once I don't have any air bubbles anymore, I can get this closed up. Put the ratchet back on. Doesn't take much. Okay, that's tight. Grab your paper towel. Do a quick mop up. There's going to be some fuel spillage. It's pretty hard to get away from that. But that is what I had to do. Change that line and prime the fuel system. Now if I had made a mistake and tried to start the machine while I had air in this system, it would have pushed air through the injection pump and into the injectors, and I would have had to go through a whole process of trying to get air out of the system, which is not incredibly difficult. And you know what, we may do that someday, but for now I have work to do, so I don't want to take the time to make that video. So that's what I got for you today. That's how I replaced this fuel line and prime the fuel system. Okay, well there we go. Started up. No apparent leaks, anything like that. So the next test is to take it out and put it under load and see what it does. Okay, so I've been working on this. I pulled that stump and then this manure pile here. I was whole chucking over into that pile over there. Full buckets. Doesn't seem to be any problem. So it seems to me, I think that we've got it.